Welcome to the Scottish Legends Cars Championship, and as you can see on their warm-up lap already, heading up towards the rolling start, we have a full grid of legends. The pace car has pulled into the tri-oval, so we're now getting led up by Bellyweight and Dave Hunter in the front row of the grid, with Stuart Black and Mark French row number 2. Lights out when we go racing down towards Duffus Dip, very close in the mid-pack, as you can see straight away. A lot of jockeying for positions as we come down. And everybody thankfully getting through the top of Duffus Dip. A few guys running a little bit wide though. Oh, somebody's sideways in the mid-pack. That was David Newell. Rally Dave getting a little bit crossed up through the left-hander now. Did he jump or was he pushed? Somebody else on the grass. Just out of our camera shot, rejoined at McIntyre's, but it's Hunter who leads from Black and Patterson with Waite, McGill, Newell, Paxton, McNeil, French, and everybody else going up the back straight. Went past the camera that quick, I couldn't see all the names. Looking back at John Patterson, you can see him looking down at the rev counter there. He pulls out, passes Stuart Black, and they're running towards the hairpin. That's going through Hislops, and down the gears he goes. We go on board with Dave Hunter. The Cresta racing car accelerates out from the hairpin and up the main straight. Oh, Pat and Black both dropping wheels over the edge of the curb into the gravel there. And out pops McGill from the slipstream on Bellyweight, and he was getting chased by David Newell over the crest of the hills. We go on board with Colin McNeil. You can see the car on his right hand side. There goes McGill past on the brakes and through at the top of Duffus. That was Dan Clark, in fact, that went past him there, number 14. Dan Clark with us this weekend at the David Leslie Trophy meeting as a guest, and a rather fast guest, we've got to say it that. There's Clark just going through the chicane ahead of the red car. There is Colin McNeil. Clark corner, Hunter, Patterson, Black, McGill and Newell together, and a little bit of gap back to Waite and Paxton. Paxton going very well this weekend. We go on board with Michael. You can see him starting to close up in the slipstream here. Pulls out from the slipstream on Billy Waite. Billy's always strong on the brakes though. Michael just gets the car alongside, job done. Simple as that. Once you get alongside, he can really control inside. Good bit of driving there from Michael Paxton in the number 5 car. And he's really starting to come of age this year, and he's getting pushed up the main straight by Billy Waite now as they go on to another lap here at Knockhill. You can see we've got pretty good weather, but there is a bit of a threat. There are some dark clouds in the sky, but the only threat at the front just now to the Cresta racing man, David Hunter, is making a mistake and losing that little bit of a lead that he has, but these two guys are working behind him pretty well, Black and Patterson, to try and bridge that gap from second and third back up to first. Little legend cars screaming all the way through Clark's there. We've got to say though, McGill and Newell are starting to catch up to the back of the second and third place Patterson and Black battle. So Stuart Black and John Patterson are going to have to watch out. Two fast incoming cars. There they are now. It's almost gone to a singular car at the front, then a line of 4. In fact, they're actually all starting to catch up to leader David Hunter. Hunter will have to make sure he's on it for this one as they go underneath the Beatson's Building Supply Bridge towards Duffus Dip. You can see those slightly moody skies above Knockhill Racing Circuit just now. It is warm enough, I can tell you that, it is warm enough, and it's very dry as McGill looks at the back of Black as they go in through McIntyre's. Now Stuart Black's had to go a little bit defensive. John Patterson's wriggled free from the incoming intentions of Stuart Black as Black uses a lot of sausage curb going through there. Just, it's okay to do that, but he just caught it wrong on the landing there, and the car bounced back up on the wrong side of the curb, and you'll feel that inside the car. That shock will go up through the driver's back, and it's quite painful when that does happen as they come through Clark Corner and head towards Hislops in the hairpin. A bit of a smoky John Critchlow there at the back from that engine. That's not a good sign. But as we go on with this one, it's now a 1-2 at the front. It's those two championship fighting guys. Patterson has homed up to the back of David Hunter, and Stephen McGill's ahead of Stuart Black now. So that's happened out of camera, we've not seen that, but McGill into third place ahead of Black and Newell, and these guys at the front, with the exception of Stuart Black, they're all gunning for the championship. David Hunter's not had the greatest of years. He's been in there all the time as Critchlow sides past Colin McNeil at the top of Duffus Dip there. Colin didn't make it easy for him, but gave him enough racing room for them both to get through. Yeah, Hunter's not had the greatest of years. Patterson's won a load of races, but David Newell and Stephen McGill are the guys at the front of the championship who are really gunning for it. John Patterson goes up the inside on the brakes at the hip, and that was from quite a distance back. You can see him fighting the oversteer on the way into the corner. He manages to get it, but he'll know he can see his face. He knows himself through the apex of the corner. That wasn't very tidy. And back on the inside comes David Hunter. It's a battle of power up the main straight here. You can see Patterson just eking up alongside, but Hunter is on the inside line, so you've got to say, yeah, David Hunter takes that one. John Patterson tries to cut back through Duffy's Dip, but it's not Hunter's first rodeo. He's been here many a time with that number 3 car all over the back of him like a rash. As Colin McNeil, now up the inside of John Critchlow, repays the mover going into Duffus. Good move for Colin in a number 4 Burnett Motorsport car. As we draw breath at the front here, and John Patterson will be regrouping. You could actually see on his face through that big clear visor there that he wasn't happy with the apex of the corner. It just screwed up a little bit. Great emotions from the drivers, and they are well and truly hyped up for this as McGill's now approaching, as Critchlow has another go as we go on board. Critchlow sends it up the inside at Clark Corner and passes Colin McNeil as the leaders all leave the hairpin. 1, 2, 3 together. McGill's caught up, and you can see Patterson catching, pops out from the slipstream, goes for the inside, and that should be the manoeuvre done now. Hunter slots in the back of John Patterson, although McGill has got something to say about this as well. He's trying to go around the outside now of David Hunter or get the cut back, and all that battling has brought number 60 Rally Dave into it, because once again this is some battle between McNeil and Critchlow. McNeil now goes back up the inside of Critchlow into Duffy's Dip. That's a brave manoeuvre, that. And all the time you've got the 4 guys at the front, and Stuart Black in 5th place. He's got something to say about this as well. He's behind Michael Paxton, Daniel Clark, and Billy Waite have a good battle as the leaders all arrive at the hairpin. But this has been a pretty good race. Oh, that's opportunistic if you ever see it. Rally Dave only knows one way. Unfortunately, had to pinch himself back at the apex here, and he's had a bit of contact as well, because you can see the front left bumper of that car has got quite a big twist in it. So maybe that happened on that first lap stramash, we could say, at the bottom of Duffy's Dip going through Leslie's, where we saw Rally Dave get very sideways. But through Leslie's on this lap, it's Patterson, Hunter, McGill, Newell all together, and just maybe a car length back from McGill, or from Newell, we have got Stuart Black, and he's very much in the fight for this. Well, anybody could win this really, and who knows what the podium steps are going to end up like as they come up the back straight towards Clark, on board with the Cresta racing car of David Hunter, looking at the back of the Burnett Motorsport car. A little tap there into the back of wee Pat, and off the curb John Patterson straight across to the right hand side. So if anybody wants to pass him, they will catch in slipstream. They have to go round the outside, and here once again comes David Newell trying to go up the inside as Stephen McGill goes round the outside. It won't work for McGill, and now it's going to be power. McGill's in the gravel. That's going to give that to David Newell. McGill puts a wheel in the gravel up to the checker flag. John Patterson wins from David Hunter. David Newell comes home in 3rd place with Stuart Black 4th, and Stephen McGill at that last corner. He'll be not happy with that one. Down into 5th place, Paxton 6th. Dan Clark comes home in 7th place, and Billy Waite makes it 8th. We wait for John Critchlow, Colin McNeil to come through, and it is going to be Critchlow ahead of McNeil, and Mark French runs out the grid.
David Newell, 3rd place finish there. That was a bit of a hectic race.
Yeah, fantastic race. Legends are putting on a good show again, as usual. Started 10th in that one, so up to 3rd was good. Yeah, I mean, there's about 5 or 6 cars now that's on basically within a 10th of each other if you look at the lap times, so it's really, really close. Yeah, I made a move on Stevie on the last corner. Both of us were going into the hairpin. He managed to dip a wheel on the outside, which allowed me to outdrag him to the line to take the 3rd. So yeah, happy with the position. Looking forward to starting off the front row in the next one.
And would you say to anyone coming into racing that Legends is a good basis for honing in your driving skills?
Absolutely. These cars are they're tricky to drive, but they're easy enough to work on. And they're cheap form of motorsport as well. Obviously, all motorsport's expensive, but it is a cheap form of motorsport to get into. Grassroots motorsport, club racing, and it's a good bunch of guys that are racing as well. So if anybody's looking to get into racing, it's a good formula to start with.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
John Patterson back on the top step of the podium. Good feeling?
Yep, yeah, good feeling, hard drive. Car wasn't brilliant, so had to really drive to get it. Sat behind David for the first half of the race because I knew I didn't have the pace to get away. and I was actually going to sit behind him a wee bit longer, and he was a wee bit slow at the hairpin, and I decided to pass him, which was a bad move because it meant me and him started dicing, which then brings the other guys closer to us. So that was after 2 laps I thought in the top 4 would be fine because the car was that bad, but I managed to get used to where it wasn't turning in great, and it was a wee bit oversteery. I just managed to kind of adapt a wee bit, and I started to catch Davey, and I thought, maybe I'm going to get away with this here. So make some changes for the next race, and hopefully we can be a bit more comfortable.
Good. Well, it looks like the rain's going to come on, so it's going to make it even more interesting.
The rain will make it hugely interesting, but I think it would have been more fun in the dry because there's 4 or 5 of us that could all win. We're all very, very close. The rain changes all of that, and it also brings in some accidents, so we're trying to avoid that for the championship. So I'd rather stay dry, but I can't see it.
Okay. Well, we'll see what you can do.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
So, David, you were P2 finished there, and it was a really close finish. I think it was 0.223 of a second between you and JP.
Yeah, it was a good race. To be honest, I'm a wee bit disappointed in the results. I mean, started second, was leading by the first corner and was controlling it well. Car was flying, but I just got a bit complacent, I think, thinking I had it under control when I never. And then JP ambushed me a wee bit. Next minute he was past, and he done well to defend on the last lap, and I just couldn't find a way past.
So where will you be starting race 2?
So second, so I'll be second last, which I think is 10th. So row 5, it's not too bad. I mean, it's a weird grid this weekend as compared to usual, so but it's still good fun. All the quick boys are still there, so it makes for good racing.
JP just said there's about 5 of you that can easily win, so I think we're in for a good battle anyway.
Yeah, there's a good quick 5 group of us that when we get a good fight, it's good for the spectators. Yeah.
Good. Well, I can't wait to watch race 2, and best of luck.
Thank you very much.
The grid is going to see John Critchlow in 86 starting from pole with Dave Newell, number 60 alongside him. Steve McGill in the white car with the Wallace flag. Start third alongside the number 4 red car.
Heat number 2 for the Scottish Legends cars, and they come through the hairpin behind the pace car. Front row off the grid, that's David Newell on pole position from John Critchlow, Colin McNeil, Dan Clark, Paxton and Patterson alongside each other for a Burnett Motorsport third row. And we have to look further down for Cresta Racing, David Hunter. Now this is a bit of a topsy-turvy grid. We are still dry conditions at Knockhill, being held back at the beginning as they come up towards the line. Oh, Colin McNeil pops out. The lights obviously have changed, and away we go, racing down towards Duffus. Bit of a messy start. We're on board with Michael Paxton. Down the inside, John Patterson goes up the inside of Michael Paxton. Head towards the apex of Duffus Dip. There through they come. Oh, there's contact, off they go. Oh, McGill across the track at the bottom. That's got Stuart Black, David Hunter. John Patterson was also involved in that. And that just was so many race cars vying for the same bit of track going through the apex of Duffus. John Critchlow has had enough at the chicane and drives straight over the grass there. But, well, that set a grenade off in the middle of the pack. And who have we lost? We've lost John Patterson. He's in the gravel trap at McIntyre's, and that is a disaster for that man's championship. It really is. While David Newell at the front will be unaware of what's happened. Anyway, he's probably noticed in his mirror there's not very many legends, and that is a very rare occurrence if you're a legend driver. Up the main straight comes David Newell, but Patterson in the gravel at what looked like McIntyre's as we go back on board with Michael Paxton. That's Mark French going very slowly up the main straight as well there. Paxton comes over the crest of the hill, and we await to see. We can see the skid marks. There's waved yellow flags, just a singular waved yellow flag at the top of the hill. It means there's double waved yellow flags here. No overtaking. As into the gravel we can see John Patterson there. David Hunter's got to wait till he gets past the next green flag, and that is up at the chicane. So has he just passed under a yellow flag, or was Colin McNeil breaking down and getting out of the way? Difficult one for us to see that, but David Hunter caught up in the middle of that. And that was a disaster for him. I think David had just tried to get out of the way. It looked like Paxton was caught up with Patterson and McGill also. And a disaster for those guys. Stephen McGill, John Patterson Well, that's their championship. Not completely done, but it certainly makes it difficult with this man, Rally Dave, away at the front. David Newell all on his own and striving towards a good haul of points in this race as we go on board with Colin McNeil. And who is he catching? That's Billy Waite. He pops out underneath the bridge into Duffus. The yellow flags will be withdrawn if he's passing there. And through he goes as we go on board the Cresta Racing number 6 car of David Hunter. Past the stricken number 3 Burnett car of John Patterson, and that will be Scottish Legends cars John Critchlow that we were looking back at there, the silver car. That car and the team run out of Knockhill Racing Circuit in the main paddock area. Here 7 days a week preparing race cars and looking after all things Legends are the guys at Scottish Legends, and Colin McNeil now gets done by his teammate going through Clark. Oh, and also Daniel Clark thinks he'll have a shot of that as well on the exit. Clark Colin compromise going through there, so had to just give a little bit of room to Paxton, the first car coming through, and that let the next car get through. Now that is a problem for Stuart Black. I wonder if Stuart Black was also caught up in that first corner incident. That car looks like it's crabbing up the main straight. I would imagine there's something wrong with the back axle on that. There's maybe the bar that connects the axle to the chassis to keep it all in line has got a bit of an issue, because you can see lots of smoke and the axle seems to be sticking more at this side of the car. So yeah, Stuart Black in all sorts of mechanical issues. If he can take that car to the finish, it will be impressive. I'm wondering if he's going to retire the car into pit lane and try and save it without damaging any more pieces of valuable Legend. And remember, Stuart's just back from a fairly sizable accident which he had reverse direction on the main straight, and that would have cost a lot of money to rebuild that car for the team. So let's see what he does. As up towards the line comes this man all on his own, possibly the loneliest Legends race that David Newell, Rally Dave, has ever had in his life, I would imagine, because he's always in the thick of the action around so many great drivers with cars all over him. He won't be used to this. He is used to being on his own on tracks though. He does a lot of rallying, so rallying's one car at a time, so it won't be too much of an issue. But Dave, he does like the battle, and he'll tell you that himself. He just likes to race. And Colin McNeil, where are you going, Colin McNeil? What happened there? Colin McNeil misses his braking zone in towards Duffus Dip, sideways over the apex and straight down the escape road as a smoky Stuart Black keeps going. Now that's not engine smoke, ladies and gentlemen, that is just tyre rubbing off the wing or fender, depending on what part of the world you come from. But Stuart carrying on now. The worrying thought is that's pulling the prop shaft at a horrible angle. There's all sorts of implications that it could have. And also from a racing driver's point of view, if you pay the bills, that's burning a hole in a very valuable tyre. As over the line goes Rally Dave, on board with Dave Hunter. Up the main straight he comes, over the crest, off the hill. And pretty good race for Dave Hunter, considering he was one of the guys who was bounding across the grass there at the bottom of the hill. And he'll be happy that he's just managed to get away damage-free on this one. Cars we have lost, well, we obviously lost John Patterson, Stephen McGill as well, two guys who would have been at the front with that man there as a floppy goes flying through the chicane. We've also lost Billy Waite in this one. We've lost Billy with 3 laps done, so where he's gone we do not know, retiring into the pit lane. And look at this, Stuart Black still managing to keep going here, and behind him a bit of a train of cars. As Colin McNeil comes through chicane, has a little bit of a wobble, but nothing too much to worry about. Clark corner, looks through the corner, gets his apex. Yeah, pretty good for Colin. Oh, and that was Stuart Black. Oh, he was stopped on the exit curb, or slowing on the exit curb. So not great for Stuart. Enough is enough for that number 52 Legend. As we once again ride over the crest of the hill, past the finish line and the start line on the top of the hill for David Hunter. On the brakes, you can see his foot moving about there, then back on the accelerator pedal to get a lot of power down the dip and through the left-hander of Leslie's as we wait for third place. Well, right now it's Michael Paxton. Paxton on the podium for the first time. This could be a great result for Michael Paxton if he can bring that number 5 Burnett car home to the line. He's getting chased hard by the Scottish Legends car of John Critchlow. And then guest for the weekend, Daniel Clark in number 14, just behind Critchlow, as Rally Dave comes into the hairpin all on his own, and he accelerates through the corner, probably still a bit bemused about where everybody is and why they're not wanting to play with him in this one. Hunter in that fine second place as we went on board with Colin McNeil. David Newell scaring the seagulls away as he goes in towards Duffy's Dip. And through the bottom of the hill he goes as Paxton, Critchlow and Clark cross the line. It looks like Paxton's now got a little bit of a gap, a little bit of breathing space over Critchlow and Clark. As Clark tries to go around the outside, or is he setting a move up on the inside? He was, yes, but John Critchlow saw that and kind of chopped back towards the inside as Clark has a huge moment going through butchers and gathers that all up. And this battling is helping Michael Paxton on his way to securing his first ever Scottish Legend podium at Knockhill Racing Circuit. Rally Dave at the hairpin. Yeah, he's in full cruise mode now as he comes through the hairpin, short shifting all the way up towards the line. The checker flag's out. Rally Dave wins possibly the quietest Legends race I've ever seen at Knockhill for him. Second place for David Hunter. A cracking drive for Dave there, surviving the Stramash at the first corner. Here comes Paxton, weaving up towards the line, delighted with his first ever podium at Knockhill for him and Burnett Motorsport. He and the team will be absolutely delighted with that one. Critchlow and Clark are across the line with Colin McNeil and Mark French running out the entire grid after that first corner incident, which took out quite a few people.
David Newell, first win of the season, and it was a dominant win as well for you.
Yeah, I got a really good break at the start, to be honest. I was on the front row. It seemed to be a really steady approach to the lights. I was just kind of holding the pace just to see how that would go. And the lights turned quite early, so I actually managed to get a good jump. So that was good. And then when I came round the second lap, I seen that wee Pat was off and obviously a couple of cars had retired, so looked at my mirror, I had a massive gap, so it was just a case of just managing the gap for there, to be honest. So it was good.
I think you had an 8-second lead at one point, so it's just about managing that gap to the cars behind.
Absolutely. I mean, once it was down to about 6, 7, 8 laps, and particularly in the last lap, I was just cruising, trying to make sure I brought the car home. But I'm not quite sure what happened to the rest of the guys, but that'll have changed the championship round a little bit now. We Pats had a DNF again, so I'm not quite sure. But anyway, first win for me. It's felt like it's been a long time coming this year, but I'm happy to take the win.
Good. Well, congratulations once again.
Perfect, thank you.
So David, P2 finished there and you managed to avoid all the carnage on track.
It was an eventful start, we should say. Sort of just unfold, and I had to take evasive action down the grass, managed to miss it all, come out third or fourth. A couple of laps later I was up to second, but I was never catching Dave. He had a good gap, so it was just a case of close the gap as much as I could, but second was the best I could manage.
And you're definitely clawing back those championship points with another P2 finish.
Yeah, I mean, the two guys that were unfortunate to have the accident were the boys I'm chasing. So I mean, that's 185 points I've taken out their gap on me, so it'll be getting close. Rally Dave here will be having a good lead at the front most, so it'll be a hard man to beat.
Good, well, wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. So Michael, it's your first podium, and I think it's an emotional one for you as well.
Absolutely, it's just, it means so much to me. I mean, these guys, they really are in a class of their own, and over the last few years, just trying to learn and develop and take the advice that they've given me. But Burnett Motorsport, I cannot thank them enough. Everything they've done. Steve does an absolutely fantastic job setting the cars up, so there's so much work goes in even before the car goes out. And then just, he's given me a fantastic car, but the start there, a bit of a scrum match, I have no idea what happened, but once, facing backwards, I thought that's it, the game over. But the car thankfully felt okay, and I just had to get the red mist to help me along here. I was a bit annoyed by it, but I just kept going, just kept the head down, just keep plugging in the laps. But massive thank you to Steve, to Burnett Motorsport, to my mechanics. There's been many over the years. Ivor Greenwood, if he's watching as well, but Tans Tannin, Bellside Timber, the whole lot. It's amazing. It means so much to me. It means so much.
Well, hopefully now your first podium's out the way, they'll all come along like buses.
Well, that's the plan. That's the plan. We're starting probably further back than I've ever done for the race anyway. But maybe if Duncan's watching, I'm going after your lap record perhaps. So.
Well, the rain's coming on as well, so it might make it a bit more interesting.
Absolutely.
Well, congratulations once again, and go and celebrate.
Cheers. Thank you.
Race 3 for the Scottish Legends here at Knockhill, and well, conditions couldn't be any different, could they? We've gone from 2 lovely dry races to a very wet, damp, tricky Knockhill. Will the wet weather specialists shine in these horrible conditions and get to the front as Billy Waite and Stephen McGill on the front row of the grid? The Central Scotland Car Sales number 15 car will be wanting to make up for that disappointing race number 2, and straight away as the lights go out, he hits the front with John Patterson in second place. Patterson getting his car rebuilt by Burnett after that gravel trap incident where he was caught up with, ironically, his teammate Michael Paxton. Through the come 1, 2, 3, 4 all together. There's David Newell from the back row of the grid, the man who won race number 2, that very lonely race for him, where he's in the mid-pack just now fighting with David Hunter, and these guys at the front have got points to be getting here. Patterson and McGill will be desperate to try and claim back some of the points that they lost in that previous race. Sliding past not 1 but 2, David Hunter in his Cresta Racing number 6 car made that look very easy. Loads of grip for that car. As into the hairpin comes McGill. Stephen defending a little bit from John Patterson and Stuart Black. These 3 cars didn't finish the last race, McGill, Patterson and Black. And neither did Billy Waite, in fact. Take the 4 cars in. The next car in the line was the winner of the second race, and he has got the man who chased him home, albeit from a great distance, David Hunter behind him. So Rally Dave and David Hunter working together in this one. John Critchlow bringing up the back in the Scottish Legends cars racing car just now, and he'll be trying to make some progress in the number 86 car, but you can see grip is at a premium just now. There's not a lot out there, and it's a bit of a black art to drive on these cars quickly in the rain, in the wet, and try and keep the... Oh, what's happening there? Oh, it's Mark French. The camera could obviously sense something was going on there. Mark French bounces through the gravel trap and joins just as John Critchlow goes through the chicane. That could have been interesting in the garage after the race, with those 2 guys sharing the same garage in Scottish Legends cars. Through goes the number 14 car, and that was Daniel Clark. And Dan just slithered past, looked like Colin McNeil at Clark Corner as we go on board with John Patterson here. Rain lights on in front for Steve McGill. All the drivers having to run with a rain light in these wet conditions, just so there's some sort of visible feature for the car who's chasing, as another position goes the way of David Hunter, and if it's gone the way of Hunter, it must have gone the way of Newell as well, because Newell's still ahead of David Hunter as we look back towards the top of Duffus. Yes, Patterson's thinking about the inside. The thing is, McGill's braking at the last possible moment, and for Patterson to try and brake and go past him, he's got to brake later, and the grip just isn't there as they go through the chicane. Up the back straight they go. Stephen McGill always excels in these tricky, horrible wet conditions. He really is a bit of a wet meister. He's also very quick in the dry, we should say that, but really does shine in these horrible, tricky conditions. Michael Paxton further down ahead of Colin McNeil, and behind Colin McNeil, sorry, just now. The man probably still riding a massive wave of emotion after his first podium as Patterson goes for the inside of the hairpin on McGill. It's locked up on the brakes, are down the gears. It looks like he's going to get that car stopped, and then yes, good block pass, you could almost say. If that was motocross, John Patterson got to the apex, stopped it and fired it out the corner. Great stuff. Up the main straight, Patterson leads from McGill, 3 from 15 as they go over the crest of the hill, then Black, and it looked like David Hunter was having a cheeky little look on the inside of David Newell. Did he make that stick? No, David Newell covered that one in the number 60 car as they come in through McIntyre's. Once again, you can see the drivers, it's just tippy-toeing the car through the corner, and that's what they've got to do as they come up towards the chicane. Oh, McGill removes a floppy there. That comes off from the second curb, and you can see the floppy exiting stage left into the gravel trap as Billy Waite in a bit of a lonely situation now behind these guys. 5 guys all battling it out at the front, and Billy Waite just off the back. He'll be seeing what's going on and he'll be hoping that they all get involved with each other so Billy can get a few more steps up the finishing order and possibly onto a podium as John Patterson comes through the hairpin. And look how McGill just tries to go underneath him through the apex of the corner there, but also behind them we've got Newell and Hunter have definitely come to this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all together at the front for the final of the Scottish Legends Cars Championship here, as we take a quick look down towards our timing sheets, what do we see? Well, we do see that the fastest man on track just now, the timing screen's telling me, my smart timing screen, fastest man on track so far is John Patterson. No, it's not, in fact. It's David Newell with a 63.9 second lap. And that's probably on that charge to catch back up with Stuart Black. Patterson's putting a little bit of gap between them now, but that's only going to work against them by the time they get to the straight. Those cars will all draft back up and catch wee Pat by the time they get to, I imagine, the hairpin. And also Duffy's Dip. Paxton still behind his teammate Colin McNeil, and Colin McNeil behind Dan Clark as they come through there. And look at that, already that gap that Patterson had built up is gone by the time we get to the hairpin. As we go up the inside of Stuart Black, and that's with David Hunter, so that means that Rally Dave has also gone past Stuart Black in the number 60 car. So David Newell fighting his way through the traffic now. He's now on the back of Stephen McGill, or was he ahead of Stephen McGill there? Has that already happened? It has. So David Newell already ahead of Stephen McGill as David Hunter. Wow. Like Mark Marquez going in towards the first corner of his dip there, backing the car in sideways through the apex, picking the throttle up before it's even sorted out, and down the hill he went. But yeah, McGill has already lost that position to David Newell. So it's all happening now as they come through the chicane and up the back straight towards Clark Corner. Has David Newell got anything left in the tank to catch up with John Patterson? And these guys are all just following each other around just now. A great showing from our guest driver, car number 14, Daniel Clark. And he's got Colin McNeil behind him with Michael Paxton and John Critchlow battling it out as they go through the chicane and up the back straight. But Patterson starting to put a charge on. Oh, you can see he was hot into the hairpin there, as was Rally Dave. He's very wide and he loses one position. He'll probably lose two positions on the drag up the hill, and that won't make him very happy. It won't cheer him up, that's for sure, as he goes up the hill. We're on board. Yes, there you go. He's lost that position to David Hunter on the inside, past the Brookfield Metal car. Oh, wow. Not one but two for Hunter. That was a power move from David Hunter there. Great stuff, and he made that one while he was coming through. I think people call that full send as he went through the apex of Duffy's there. Now, has he got anything in the tank as he goes sideways through Butchers? Can the Cresta number 6 car catch the Burnett 3 at the front? John Patterson driving his heart out here at the front as we look back to see Dan Clark taking a whole heap of curb going through McIntyres, followed by Colin McNeil. And Colin McNeil, we should say, driving an absolute stormer of a race here in these tricky, wet, damp conditions, no pun intended. But Colin on the track and still trying very hard behind Dan Clark, and can he get past him? The only time will tell as we get back to the hairpin. This time it's David Hunter who runs wide through the apex of the hairpin, and these guys are really starting to give this towards John Patterson. These mistakes and errors at the hairpin, not the place you want to do it, because Patterson executes the hairpin perfectly, then up the main straight he'll pull away. So really it's all in the hands of John Patterson just now, but has he got enough grip in that car, or well, will they all work as a team behind him and try and catch him back up? One thing's for sure, David Hunter looks like his car is on rails as they come down through the twisty section of Knockhill Racing Circuit, and already look how much time he has caught back up on John Patterson here. He's eating away at that lead, and Stephen McGill in that third place. He'll be happy he's got Rally Dave behind him, and Stuart Black just off the back of him. Paxton and Critchlow side by side out of McIntyre. Who's going to break first? Who's going to breathe first? Gets Critchlow, yet he had to do that. Paxton round the outside, he had that one. And Colin McNeil still putting Daniel Clark under all sorts of pressure as they go up the back straight towards Clark Corner. As they come through, Clark sideways and then understeers through the apex as Paxton and Critchlow both come through. But we go back on board with car number 6 now. Is he launching an attack? Yes, he is. He is. Whatever it is, he goes past at the top of Duffus. Dave Hunter, sensational stuff. He's worked his way through, and that looked like Rally Dave was going down the escape road there. Yeah, he rejoins. Oh, and he's behind Stuart Black. Possibly had to give that position back, but fights back on the exit of the corner and scythes up the inside. But it's all change at the front. The Cresta Racing number 6 car of David Hunter has got himself into the lead ahead of John Patterson, and then Stephen McGill in third place. As we look back into the wet, damp mid-pack and see Paxton still fighting with Critchlow, 5 and 86. They've been glued together for the entire race, as the Central Scotland car sales car Number 15, Stephen McGill, has a little look alongside John Patterson, but Patterson will get a better exit from the corner, and he'll be able to hold that up the main straight as your leader crosses the line now. And, well, has David Newell got anything left? Or has his challenge somewhat faded away towards the end of this race? Great showing from David Hunter to get himself towards the front. Newell still the fastest man on track. We should tip our hat towards him there. And you can see that with the commitment. He arrived at turn 3 McIntyre's, heading towards the apex, and he's not giving up, that's for sure. Through the corner, the guys all come and make their way from the chicane, climbing up the back straight. Now it's a climb all the way up that back straight. They come through Clark. The road levels out a little bit through Hairpin, or Hislop's towards the Hairpin. Then there's a big long climb up the main straight, and it really is all about horsepower up that hill. As we come in though, David Hunter has built up enough of a gap behind him to be a little bit comfortable going into the corner and out of it, because that is so important. A good exit up that hill there. The flashing fancy rain light on the back of that car. Up towards the finish line, the checkered flag's ready. It's a win in the final for Hunter. Second place for Patterson. McGill takes third from Newell in fourth. Black comes home in fifth place with Billy Waite a fine sixth place, and Colin McNeil looks like he's overhauled Daniel Clark at the very end of this one. He'll be delighted with that one in the number 4 car. He comes across the line ahead of Clark, Critchlow and then Paxton, with Mark French coming home in another fine 11th place.
So David, win there and 2 second places today, good results.
Yeah, it's been overall a good weekend. Mixed conditions, car's been mega in all conditions, so I can't complain. The team's pulled out the bag this weekend, never missed a beat. I just had so much confidence in it out there in the wet, and it paid off. Come from pretty much the back of the grid, take the win, over the moon.
And a bit of showboating at the end there to celebrate.
Well, I've not had a win yet this year, and it's been, we've been waiting for it, so I thought I'll just take the benefit when I can.
Quite rightly so.
Yeah, thank you.
Well done.
Thanks very much.
So John Patterson, does that make up for race 2?
No, second doesn't make up for anything. No, it is what it is. The car's not been great all weekend. Put it into the tyre wall yesterday, brake failure in practice, and we've been chasing it ever since really. But damage limitation, 15 points dropped, 30 got back on David Newell, so I just need to keep looking and look ahead and try and win the rest of the races. That's all I can do really now. Hope that Davey either has a wee breakdown or a wee mishap, maybe get some points back, but love to fight another day.
Well, I'll leave it at that. I can tell you're quite disappointed, but thanks anyway.
I think that's an understatement. Gutted, extremely. See you later, thanks.
Steve McGill, third place. Are you happy with that or not really?
To be honest, the third place is okay. I don't mind that. It's kind of taken out in race 2 that kind of made a big dent in our title kind of chances. 3 years pretty much at the front of the points scoring there. So today was about getting 3 strong finishes and just staying in the hunt all the way to the end. And having a DNF is the kind of thing I'd said before today, is it can't happen. It's going to end up taking us right out the points when it comes to the end of the championship. But I got collected up in an incident in race 2 and caused quite a lot of damage to the car. I had a lot to repair there and that in the car as well, front suspension, rear suspension, axle. So in the final there I had no steering to the left and a really taily back end. The car's quite crabbed, but we made the most of it and still had fun at the end of the day, so yeah.
Sounds like you did quite well then to get out for race 3.
Cable ties is probably a mechanic's best friend when it comes to fiberglass panels, and gaffer tape's probably hiding quite a bit, but mechanically a fantastic team there. It's just friends and family we run ourselves, so everybody was knuckling in and doing what they could to get us back out, so now we've done the best with what we could with the car, so yeah.
And is this your number 1 fan?
This is the number 1 fan. I'm actually trying to keep the car in one piece for her for when she's big enough to race it, so yeah, she's been at every one of Dad's races. Even 3 weeks old she was here, and then she was at Mondello Park at 4 months, and she's never missed a meeting, so it's my lucky charm, so that's why we do it.
Good, well done again.
Smash it, thank you.
So that's the racing for the Scottish Legends Championship drawn to a close here. We'll see you again next time for action-packed racing.